In this lesson, we'll sketch our first caricature of actress Cate Blanchett. So we spent the last couple of lessons sketching two different caricatures for actor Michael Cera, and in both cases we took facial features and we exaggerated them differently, drawing that emphasis to different parts of the design. So there's a sketch that we created in the previous lesson and the sketch prior to that lesson. So those turned out to be a lot of fun, and in between lessons I kind of cleaned up that most recent sketch a little bit more to my liking, just kind of cleaning it up, making it not as messy. So now we're going to move on to an actress, a wonderful actress, Cate Blanchett. And so just looking at some of these images here, there's a few things that really stand out to me. I feel like she has a really strong ball to her nose. She also has really dominant cheeks that stand out. And I feel like her eyes are always very squinty when she's smiling, that big, beautiful smile of hers. So those are kind of three things that I want to start with, and we can kind of build on it from there. Now, the first thing I want to do is kind of nail down just the overall shape or form for her head. As I kind of look at this image right here, I kind of like this one, and I might reference this one. I feel like she kind of has just kind of a diamond-shaped head. So I'm kind of pulling from that, and she also has a very long and slender neck, in addition to kind of a slender physique. So kind of playing that up right here as we kind of think about the upper bust as well. Okay, all right, great. Now just kind of thinking about where some of these other features will sit. If she's got these kind of squinty eyes, kind of thinking of them sitting in the center of the head, just kind of some slender oval shapes. And then, as I mentioned, she has really dominant cheeks, so kind of thinking about where I want those to be placed. In addition to having kind of a larger ball to the nose, I feel like she has also a very long nose, just looking at these. So I kind of want to have that distance between the ball, the nose, and the eyes to feel like they're pretty far apart. And then she also, as I can kind of continue to look at her different facial features, she has pretty plump lips. So kind of deciding how much real estate I want to dedicate to the lips. In the end, you want to think about just visual contrast. You don't want to have too many features that are all the same size competing with one another. So I am being mindful of that as I start to block in some of these areas, dedicating that real estate to certain facial features. So right now we have something that looks very simple, very basic, just some simple shapes, but now I can take these and start to build on them. Let's go ahead and start with her eyes, just again kind of tightening those up, kind of thinking about, they're always very squinty. So I'm kind of starting to think about kind of how those are going to start to look as well. And then kind of coming down here to the ball of the nose, I can kind of start to tighten that up. And if you look at the ball of her nose, she almost has a kind of an indentation right there. So kind of alluding to that without getting too many lines there on the nose, which could make it a little bit muddy, I think. So it's another thing you want to think about is simplification, as I've mentioned, in addition to exaggeration. If you get too many lines worked into a design like this, to a sketch like this, it can really weigh it down, make it feel too cluttered, too muddy, and your focus will start to wander in areas that you may not have intended the viewer to wander to. Okay. She also has a pretty sharp chin, so I'm kind of defining that. But I want kind of the primary focus to really be kind of on these cheeks and just on that nose, and also just on those lips as well. She has very plump lips, really kind of thinking about having just a strong upper lip. And then from here we can kind of start to hatch in her eyebrows, kind of start to think about her hair. That hairstyle kind of attributes to that kind of diamond shape head or shape that we're kind of establishing for the head there. And then I kind of feel like she has large ears in some cases, or rather her ears kind of stick out to where you see the sides facing forward in some cases. And this is just based off of my recollection of seeing her in several movies. But now I'm just kind of coming through and just kind of starting to tighten this up just a little bit more to my liking. I usually start off just pretty loose, as you've noticed, and then I kind of start to come in here and just kind of tighten up some of this information. You can also see some strong lines there just in her neck, and we'll kind of add a little bit of a hint of a dress right here as well. I like having that long kind of slender neck. And while we're at it, you know, she's got some pretty strong eyelashes. I think that could be kind of another secondary quality that we could play up as well. Kind of giving her some strong eyelashes. But the dominant features that I'm emphasizing for this particular caricature sketch would be the nose, the lips, and those really defined cheekbones. So just those cheeks right there, okay? Now, in our next lesson, we'll see how we can maybe create another caricature and how we can look at these different facial features that she has here and just kind of how we can present them differently, how we can emphasize certain other features more so than the ones we have done in this lesson. Again, so basically same thing that we've been doing thus far. It's all about just seeing something differently. That way you don't get stuck on your first design. And I think what we're doing here not only applies to caricatures, but also character designs, okay? So whether you're sketching out something or you're painting something or you're modeling something in 3D, just this mindset that we're trying to kind of convey to you in this course, I think is very important. It's all about observation, followed by how you want to exaggerate and emphasize certain qualities that you're observing, okay? All right, so in our next lesson, we'll go ahead and work up another caricature sketch of actress Cate Blanchett. So stick around, we'll see you then.